So good afternoon, everyone. So we've established an agenda for the presentation today. We'll be first introducing our speakers, followed by a discussion of digitalization during the crisis. Next, we'll be discussing the changes in business priorities, followed by the drivers of business transformation. Next, we'll discuss how to future-proof your business, and we'll talk in detail about Creatio's low-code CRM platform. Now, as mentioned, we are joined by a valued partner today from Mitra Innovation. So Ashok, I'm going to hand over to you very quickly so you can give yourself a brief introduction and tell our audience about yourself.
Thank you, Corey, and thank you so much for Creatio for inviting me. I am Ashok Supaya. I'm actually a serial entrepreneur, also co-founder and CEO of Mitra Innovation Group. Lived up background. I've actually spent about 10 years in the US, growing a very large consultancy company that was IPO'd in NASDAQ in 2008 called Vitusa Corporation. It's about a $1.3 billion global company. Spent quite a lot of my time there and moved to UK in 2005, primarily to help organizations in UK and Europe to innovate, accelerate. What can the CIOs leverage to provide better services to their employees and customers? So spent quite a lot of time here. Started Mitra Innovation in 2008 into a digital acceleration innovation organization. We are in multiple countries in the world, about 16, about 200 people, very niche, very focused in innovation. We are proud to be a Creatio partner. Creatio brings a lot of great technology capabilities that the enterprises and SMEs need. We have evolved into various product developments as well, and hopefully I'll be able to share some of my experience today. Thank you, Corey.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ashok. We're very pleased to have you on this afternoon. And I'd like to introduce my colleague, Eric Hale. Eric, why don't you tell the audience a bit about yourself?
Hey, thanks, Corey. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Hale. I am the Global Head of Sales Enablement at Creatio. As Ashok had mentioned earlier, I've also been in the industry for a number of years, working with a lot of financial services and banking clients. Technology that I've kind of represented, ranges from CRM to business process management to Internet of Things. So I've had a lot of experience in technology, and now in my current role here at Creatio, I'm kind of responsible for bringing together a go-to-market strategy and aligning our teams across sales, marketing, and operations. All right, so a little bit about Creatio. We are also a global organization headquartered here in Boston, Massachusetts, where Corey and I sit. But we do have offices around the globe that help to support our customer base. We also have a very robust network of consultants and integrators such as Mitra that help us to operate in over 110 countries globally. We've also been highly recognized by key industry analysts at Gartner and Forrester, including being named to 5 Gartner Magic Quadrants, as well as 7 Forrester Waves. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about how the world is changing, and I'm going to turn it back over to my friend Ashok to run you through a couple of slides here. Ashok?
Thank you. Brilliant. Excellent. So I think we are seeing what technology can bring to the table, how it can empower CIOs, CTOs, and CEOs around the world. But I think the last 3 to 4 years, we saw a massive acceleration. So if I may start by just sharing a little bit of statistics around what we are seeing and what the McKinsey, Gartner of the world are telling about. So the 3 things I think will be worth highlighting. One, many of us know that digital transformation been there for the last decade. Pretty much all organizations, McKinsey says 92% of the companies have been driving digital transformation for the last 5 to 10 years. What's interesting to see is during lockdown, during COVID-19, there's been almost twofold acceleration in terms of recognizing the digital channel as a very, very important way to communicate with the audience, with the customers. So that what it means is it's going to be more important for organizations to look at digital way of delivering the services. It's not to say you need to come up with a brand new service, but you need to deliver the service in a more innovative way, in a way that people really want. It also worth noting a lot of organizations, almost 79% of the organizations are still in the early days of adopting digital capabilities for numerous reasons. Like there are a lot of legacy technology. Transforming business is not that easy. It takes a lot of time. I spent a considerable amount of my consultancy time with JP Morgan, Citibank, British Telecom, Deutsche Bank, and so on. And it is not easy. Most recently, I was with Travis Perkins, helping them with their CRM initiative, and it is not easy to make changes. So it's not easy, but it is definitely progressing, and organizations are taking advantage of it. What criteria are we seeing before COVID and now? There's actually been a very interesting observation. I'm assuming most of the audience will agree to this as well. In the past, when you look at large enterprise corporations, majority of the investment went towards creating value to the business itself and the shareholders. Those were the two primary drivers, and obviously looking after the employees were in their objectives as well. But mostly what capability, what products that are offered is all around how do you increase your share price from 10 billion to 100 billion to 500 billion, right? So all driven by that. However, because of the remote work and people had the time to look at their work-life balance, I think it has reminded us the importance of employees, their safety, their mental health and well-being. Those have become a more priority. So I'm actually not surprised to see the analysis, as you can see on the chart. Now the investments or the product that are coming out into the market is around what social benefits, what impact are we having for your local community, your local grocery producers, your local supply chain, and how do you help them is becoming very important. Safety, as you know, obviously health and safety is very important, but also continuity, resilience in your work environment. How do you really look after your employees, your customers, and create the whole ecosystem, and then build that entire community is becoming more and more important. And I think we are seeing more and more products coming out into the market, and a lot of investments are going into technology in that space. And I think artificial intelligence is starting to create a big role in this space. So we are excited and looking forward to seeing more products come into the market. Moving on, I was actually talking to a few colleagues yesterday evening. We're having a general conversation, and we talked about Zoom. Until very recently, many people around the world didn't know Zoom. I mean, it was used in the corporate world, but never a consumer product. Now, Zoom has become a mainstream conversation. It just shows how business transformation could come about in a given context. And the COVID-19 outbreak really forced us to leverage some technology, whether it's for remote health consultation, or ordering your groceries, or getting your produce, or a milk, or even wine, and whatever you want to order. It all came through digital technology, because we couldn't go to the stores. It just shows that technology has a very critical role to play, but its acceptance of the technology has been not that easy, both inside the organization, also in the consumer world. However, it is really, really important to leverage the technology. What it means is, if you remember in the last decade, chief digital officers, the CDOs, played a very, very crucial role. They were at the board level, influencing the board of directors on what technology they need to leverage. Now, I think CIOs and the CTOs have taken even a more stronger footing because large organizations, whether it's Marks and Spencer and Waitrose in the UK, or large supermarkets and retail chain in the US, like Macy's of the world, for them to survive, they really need to deliver their goods and services in a different way. So in order to be a high performer, you have to leverage your IT, internal IT, and you also need to bring a lot of new way of delivering services to your customers. Otherwise, I think survival will become a major challenge. In terms of how do you tackle in the COVID-19 and what is your future? How do you see forward? That's an important element. I'm actually working with a number of organizations, both enterprise level and SME level in the UK and Europe, and constantly their question is, so what's the future? What's the next 3 years going to be? Obviously, we understand hospitality, travel industry has taken a hit. It will take a few years to recover. But some of the other industries like healthcare, even financial services, leaving mortgage aside, the lending side and the investment side are doing really well. And so what's in there for them? How do they really take this to the next level is a question. So how do you prepare for the future? Now, the good news is there are some capabilities been around for a while, so we leverage that, and then we build on top of it, but we think very differently. That's the important element. First, cloud has been around for a while. It's very steady in AWS, Azure, and all these organizations give us fantastic platform to leverage. So we need to leverage the cloud to provide the solutions. So second, you probably heard of software as a service, infrastructure as a service, etc. The new term that's coming into the play is anything as a service. In otherwise, you don't limit it to just technology services like for CRM, Creatio provides its software as a service. However, you could also now think like ordering your meat produce or your food or your clothing, etc. as a service. So that's how you need to think. So how do you take process, how do you take your functions and turn that into a service model that could be ordered through an e-commerce platform, delivered through an e-commerce platform, and you bring the entire customer service around it. So I think that's what the customers really want around the world. Now, to achieve that, we don't have the luxury of spending 6 months. Rapid automation is very, very important. Acceleration is very, very crucial. So organizations really need to look at how they can automate their process. That's a question my colleague Erika spoke a little earlier. So how do you automate your process? How do you bring various investments to bring all your technology, your capabilities together is very important. And lastly, but not the least, the agility, again, it's been there. A lot of projects and programs run in agile, customer service are running in agile. Why can't we run business models in an agile way? So I think organizations need to think at various levels, whether you're public sector, private sector, small, large organization, are there any business capabilities now that you can bring using agile capabilities? I think all those are very important. Now, if I were to focus a little bit on the CRM, what observation can I share, and what do I see that's coming in the next year? And so we kind of looked at 3 different trends. Traditionally, CRM was predominantly used for managing your customer database, campaigning to them, communicating with your customers through CRM, and managing the pipeline. But I think CRM can offer a lot more. It has evolved as long as CRM can be bundled with a couple of other capabilities, which I will talk about shortly. So first of all, we have to be fast. We have to be rapid, as I mentioned in the previous slide. The productivity of an organization really depends on how fast you can implement your CRM and how fast you can extend and enhance it. That's very, very important. The second, CRM obviously used for managing your pipeline, but can it deliver benefits to your employees? Can they automate certain workflows, get their reports in a better way, and really deliver benefits to their day in, day out operating model? And especially if they're working on in a remote distributed environment, that you have to be able to do it. Otherwise, paper-based, manual-based, Excel model-based approaches is not going to scale. Equally, can we deliver value to customers? Can we provide them a portal? Can we bring them into the interaction, understand their behaviors, understanding their buying patterns better, rather than just using CRM as a reporting and just a list table? Can we make it very interactive? Third one, can CRM expand into other capabilities to facilitate new digital business models? So for example, can it integrate to my online way of interacting with my customers? How about my partners? Can I create a partner ecosystem so I can grow better? There are a lot of artificial intelligence, AI technologies coming into the market. Can I add on to the CRM capability and accelerate? So I think these are the three trends we are seeing. Obviously, there are various CRM products out there providing various capabilities, but I actually used a lot of CRM products in the last 20 years. But I find the Creatio CRM is very, very powerful, and I'll share some stories around it. First of all, I think if you can bundle in your CRM with the low-code capabilities, where you can build some functionalities, capabilities, process automation very rapidly without writing any software, that can really bring a lot more flexibility, and it can automate a lot more process as well. The benefit, there are a number of benefits. If I were to highlight top three, one, it reduces our cost, both from an automation perspective, but also we can build new capabilities, new interactions with our partners and customers quickly. Business can perform better because we are a lot more automated and interactive. We can win more customers and also serve better service. Quality of service, which is very crucial. It's very hard to deliver quality of service when various capabilities in your organization is disconnected. So CRM with a low-code enhancements to process automation, it really brings those capabilities. And of course, the standard benefits of you can increase your customer base, you can create a loyalty program and retain your customers. Who are your repeat customers. That analysis is very important, and eventually bring in the sales volume. Now, in terms of the benefits of merging the low-code CRM capabilities with the business process management could be very, very powerful. I have used a number of business process management tools like Pegasystem, for example. They are very powerful on their own, but if you can integrate them into CRM and process automation, not only you can automate your business operation around CRM, but you can also bring in a lot of other applications through BPM. And I'll show you a case study after this slide as to what Mitra has done using the Creatio BPM technology. So in terms of benefits, one, obviously it automates the process. It's very easy to model process. You need to understand the business domain, the business process. Modeling them, deploying them into production is very, very easy. So that's a great benefit. Second, of course, case management. If you have a BPO type of operation in your organization, you have a lot of tasks to be delegated to various people. You can build case management very, very quickly. It's very simple. It simplifies the whole process, which brings a lot of benefits to various stakeholders in an organization. That's where transparency is important. And of course, the dashboard, because you're integrating your CRM with some low-code process automation, and then you're building some business functionalities on top of BPM, but they all are integrated into one single dashboard. So you can have metrics like productivity in your warehouse, delivery time in your supply chain, your order volume in your e-commerce, your customer retention, number of customers that you're managing, servicing, or number of the customer churn. You can bring all kinds of information into one management dashboard. So as an executive at board of directors, you don't have to go and look at these data in a report by report in a separate system. Then, of course, you got the analytics. You were able to share information with various divisions of your organization, scalability, collaboration. Those are what you expect from a tool like this. But the first four, process modeling, case management, the simplification, and entire dashboarding is very, very important. Now, just if I could share one case study from a Mitra Innovation point of view, not only we are a CRM partner and we do low-code modeling, but we are very strong participant in the Creatio BPM solution. We actually developed a product on top of this. We call it Dynametics. And we took that product to market around the lockdown period, and we have 3 customers already, and I'm going to share one case study. So this case study is in Boston, in the backyards of Creatio, and also a city that I grew up and I love the city. So one of the construction company called Plumhouse, they have 5 sites. During the lockdown, there was some restriction, and however, they were allowed to continue to work in spite of the COVID spread in New York and nearby states. But among this turmoil, CDC recommended some guidelines and precautions for construction workers to protect themselves and also slow down the spread of the virus on an ongoing business. Plumhouse actually adopted our Dynametics product, and it actually used the product to adhere to the CDC interim guidelines, especially to ensure their business is safe, and also the employees, including contractors, are safe across all their sites, which has about 500 contingent workforce. The success of using our BPM-powered platform is the contractors are able to go to the site on a daily basis only if they are safe to do so. The application automatically told them whether they are allowed to go to the site or not. The foreman at the site knew who actually came or should be coming or who did not come. All the information were maintained in the dashboard. It provided them with the compliance report the government needed. So it's all automated in terms of reporting, and it provided a consistent safety plan across the entire organization. So they have completed over 8,000 screening in the first 3 months. In the early part of the operation, they saw about 12% of workers were told not to come to the site, to stay at home until they are safe to do so. But it's actually dropping quite a lot, and more people are able to come back to work now. So it's a good example how we were able to bundle in the Creatio CRM low-code platform and build an application around it. And since then, we expanded into a workplace for employees in an office environment to work in a safe way, mental health well-being for employees to share their needs of the mental well-being, especially if you're working from a home or remote environment. You have to manage the stress level and make sure everybody is safe, etc. So it's evolving. Great experience overall. We really enjoy working with Creatio, and hopefully it's been. We'll look forward to this partnership in the coming months and years.
In the expert discussion.
Okay. Let me turn on my camera. Ooh, there we go. Ashok, good to see you.
Excellent.
Good to see you, Eric.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and thanks, Gray. Yeah, so great points, Ashok. I couldn't agree more with the statements that you're making in terms of how a low code CRM can actually help organizations. So what we thought in this section would be to ask you some of the points where you have such great experience. Maybe talk a little bit about these projects and things that you've been working on. And kind of share your experience. So I put together a few questions that I thought would be beneficial. So I talked a little bit about it. At the beginning here, and again, we know that different types of organizations have siloed data, many different systems that they're using. They're having to navigate multiple applications to kind of support their customers, whether that's from a marketing perspective, sales perspective, service perspective. What do you find, in your engagements is the best way to kind of streamline all of that for your customers?
Great question. I think I mentioned earlier, if you give an organization, they probably have about 40 to 60 applications from CRM to HR, marketing, logistics, inventory, e-commerce, etc. Integration is a real challenge, especially for bigger companies. SMEs the last 10 years gone into SaaS solution, but the SaaS application do not integrate out of the box. You've got to integrate them. So integration is a big area. From a Mitra point of view, we specialize, but an open API across all these applications helps. So connecting those applications together is become a very critical requirement for business. But I think where the CRM or the low-code BPM solution I just talked about is bringing all the dashboards together. So one is you connect all the applications together, which we can do now. But how do we bring the data together and how do we bring the dashboard together is where we are spending quite a lot of our time. So we are currently working with a number of banks in Czech Republic. We're talking to a number of hospitals in the UK and Australia. Even I spoke to one of the Creatio partner in LATAM this morning. They all have the same question. There are people working in various locations, various systems. How do I make the employees safe, but how do I bring the data together? So I think integrated dashboard will really help.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And again, that's where a lot of management teams kind of struggle, right? They don't have the ability to have that full view of all that data. So couldn't agree more with that. So in terms of, you mentioned integration, for businesses, process integration, system integration. How do you feel that's changed, given the current environment, pre and post COVID? Are we seeing new challenges? Are they the same? How are you seeing that?
So if you remember, in the last 4 or 5 years, governments in UK and Europe, I think US as well, have been forcing to adopt open integration. So the banking sector has gone through open integration solution where banks, insurance companies can connect their systems together and provide better benefits to the employees and then consumers. We are seeing similar integration in healthcare as well. The ecosystem where companies can cross-sell and upsell services across other businesses becoming more important. So I think we are seeing a shift from integrating applications to integrating businesses across organizations. And how do you bring that ecosystem, the marketplace, if you like you got a marketplace, Amazon has a marketplace. If I'm a pharmaceutical, how do I create a marketplace where my customers can buy medical services hospitals are providing and vice versa? I think that's where we are seeing the demand now.
Yeah, I agree with that, and it's not just like a standard one size fits all, right? You mentioned a couple of different industries, and I think that's like a great example. Healthcare being one. You think of a healthcare system and all the different components within that. What are the best practices do you see for implementing low-code CRM in different industries? Are there any best practices that you can share?
It depends. I mean, the CRM in general, like I think we talked a little bit about it earlier. If it is a traditional CRM where you're only managing the customer database, customer communication, pipeline management, then standard process is fine. But if you're going into process automation, creating new digital business channels, there is a lot more requirements. I think the challenges for marketing organization, sales and marketing organization, and the technology, the CIO IT organization is how to prevent this becoming a software development project. Yeah, that's the biggest challenge for the organization. So getting external help, where partners like Mitra Innovation come in, we understand the needs, we accelerate it. So for example, they will say, customer, we have clients in Australia, in New Zealand, now we have clients in Cambodia, Vietnam as well. So basically they will articulate, here is what I want, and we are trying to demo that within 2-3 days. So very iterative, quickly show them, they like it, yes, go and show them in another 2 days, do multiple agile iterations so we can get the application up and running within 3 to 4 weeks, right? That's the important thing. And they don't have the luxury for 3 months anymore. Yeah, it's too long.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And I think that a lot of organizations will try to kind of bite off more than they can chew, right? Like, they understand that there's all these great benefits that you can have, but they really need to be focused on specific use cases and where they can get the most bang for the buck up front. And I like what you said about that agile approach, right? We run in sprints. Where we can, get projects completed and up and running. And I think that is probably, in my experience as well, the best practice, right? Don't try to, make a sea change within your organization, but focus on exactly what will bring value very quickly to your organization. So yeah, I agree completely with that. So, all of those good things being said, in terms of, when you're implementing low-code CRM, obviously organizations make those purchasing decisions based on current state and what they want their future state to be. How do your customers view, what their goals are before, implementing those technologies to the benefits that they're gaining afterwards? Have you had any feedback from your clients on what they've been able to achieve?
Excellent question, Eric. I have been doing technology projects and advising people for the last 25 years now. I have never come across a single project where the buyer, whether it's a customer or internal division, knew exactly what they want day one. Mm-hmm. They have a vision of what they want. Usually they have an idea, but they need the idea to be visualized before they really know what they want. So, I have done a lot of big projects in the US, JP Morgan, Citibank, and I have gone through a lot of scars, very painful process of delivering something to the CIO and say that this is not what I wanted something else. So having learned from that, we use prototyping extensively. So we use, for example, Visio or Proto.io. There are a lot of tools we use to visualize what the application should look like without writing any code, just wireframing. And we get the buy-in from the customer stakeholders. So for example, Ramsay Hospital, we work with psychiatrists directly. We're showing them, here is what you want, here is how the mental health will be, here is the employee well-being index will be calculated, here is how to visualize. Once they agree, then we put it into the low-code environment very quickly, and then we prototype and show the prototype. So they say, yeah, I like it, but I want the button to be here. I don't want this number. I want. So we go through that very interactive, very collaborative approach that I think would gets buy-in, I would say almost 8 to 9 times out of 10. Mm-hmm. So that interactive visual buy-in is very, very important.
Yeah, I can see that, and it's it's funny that you mentioned that those projects that they know they want to accomplish something, they just don't know how to get there. But
Yeah.
that's where great companies like yours can come in and lead them to the cool sweet water and get those benefits. Another thing that we talk about when we look at low code and all the benefits that you can get out of that, right? Rapid application development, addressing business challenges very quickly, utilizing CRM to build up robust profiles. I think that from our perspective, we'll throw a name out there. The Amazon shopping experience has really kind of spoiled all of us, right? We all expect every interaction that we have to be as seamless and as smooth as we experience on Amazon Prime, right?
Just like Netflix and Amazon Prime, one click and you see the video.
Yeah, and they know me. They know me when I log into those applications. They know me. So given the fact that consumer expectations have grown to a level where we can demand a better experience, what sort of data and what additional understandings or preferences do we need to know about customers in this changing environment? What pieces of data do you think are more important to collect on customers, given our experiences today?
That's a challenging one, Eric. It's very hard to understand what customer really want. There are a lot of techniques out there: A/B testing, customer feedback, survey. You can hire a third-party company, do survey, etc. But it's only if you really look, there's only probably few thousand applications really mastered it when there are many million applications being built. So it's a tricky one. The approach we are taking is really demoing and getting honest feedback from our friends and family. We don't have to sell. We just show it to customers or potential customers and say, hey, if this is great, will you buy it? So it's a question that we go through. We ask a lot of questions, keep it very, very simple. So that kind of interactive customer study definitely helps. You don't have to sell. You just need to validate whether the simplicity is very important and is doable. You need a lot of domain knowledge to get it right. A lot of technology companies build software without really understanding the domain. I'm working with a company in Germany called ADA. It's an artificial intelligence for health assessment, self-assessment technology. Fantastic, beautiful UI, very interactive, question and answer. But they have about 20 medical doctors in their business who come up with this whole interactive model. So I think that kind of deep domain knowledge is very, very important. And lastly, you've got to keep it simple. And you also need to understand who are your audience. Now, if you're selling to elderly people, you need to adhere to their needs. If you're selling to the younger generation, they are more tech savvy. So you've got to study and so on. I'll share one story. So about 4 years ago, both Mitra and ex-Intel CTO, we launched a new startup called Cradle with a K. And it's designed for elderly people who live in their own home in an isolation. If they had a fall, they didn't wake up the normal time in the morning, they didn't walk around and have a tea. They will have a wristband and a teletop device. It interacts and monitors their whereabouts. And if something is not right, it alerts the friends and family through an app. So that's how we launched it. We did a lot of pilots, but there was no buy-in. There was no buyers for that. We couldn't sell. But now the product has undergone revision, and it's become a simple your television video conferencing for the elderly people with your family, your children, grandchildren. And NHS have signed up for 4 trials. It's nothing but like the video conference we are doing now, but it's designed for the elderly people sitting at their home, just using the television to connect to their family. That's it. So I think you get it right. Getting the UI right, and the simplicity is very, very important.
Yeah, I agree, and it's in that, and I feel that that's really where CRM can come into play. We need to understand our target audiences, right? And again,
Yeah.
that just goes beyond understanding how they transact or how they. It's really understanding what the preferences are, what the needs are, and then delivering that targeted approach based on your audience. I think that long gone are the days of taking that shotgun approach where you just it goes out to a mass market and whoever gets it. But it's really going to be those companies that can focus in on those specific areas that are going to do well.
Exactly.
So that's actually a great example. So I have one last question before we move into our next section. So I think in times of crisis like we have now, or any crisis for that matter, it exposes a lot about organizations. And one of the things that I've noticed is that companies that have invested into digital transformation, prior to the COVID-19 outbreak, had a gap over their competitors that haven't invested in that technology. Well, I've seen that gap now, post-COVID get larger, right? Like, so now digital transformation is becoming more important. We've got, organizations that are now going to have to adapt to that during a time of crisis. So what I was interested in finding out is, do you have any recommendations or indicators where companies that might be in that situation should maybe abandon development projects and focus more on digital initiatives? So and how do they manage that again through a time of crisis?
Yeah, so I think in my first slide I said that during COVID, some of the analysts are saying there's a 2x acceleration in digital initiative for those organizations who have the ability to do so, and there are a lot of organizations they are unable to do so. So rather than looking at, digital transformation tends to mostly refer to large corporates trying to reinvent themselves via their entire organization into digital way of streaming content and services. It might be better to look at services they're offering today, and if it is a traditional, let's say, brick and mortar store-based operation with a very light online presence, they might want to rethink their strategy, and they really should ask themselves, how do I convert this into 50% revenue coming from online in the next 5 years? And what does that mean? So I might have to build a brand new platform. So we are working with a very large, second largest bank in Czech Republic, and they've decided to build a brand new minimum viable bank in the next 5 years and transition their customers into the new platform rather than just doing digital transformation, because the legacy platform is too large, too complex. They will never get it done. So I think organizations should take a fresh perspective, maybe create a new line of business, maybe come up with a new strategy, or maybe even acquire a company who are digitally good, small, and then expand on that. But I think CRM touches every element of an organization because you're interacting with customer one way or the other. So I think if you create some good dashboard on your CRM, you will know who are your customers who could migrate to the digital platform, target them, maybe create a sample committee from that committee from that customer base, involve them in your project, and really build the organization into the digital forum. I think that's what I would recommend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great points. And it was always a pleasure to have this type of discussion with you. I know that you and the whole Mitra team just bring a ton of experience, so it's always good to have you on these webinars. So I think at this point we're going to stop sharing our videos. So until the next time.
Thanks, Eric.
All right. There we go. Yeah, so just very briefly, we'd like to talk to you a little bit about the Creatio low-code CRM platform. We've all just talked about all of the benefits of it. So again, we wanted to share just the Creatio vision of this. And we have this this statement that we really hold true to our values here, is that we want to create a world where everyone can automate business ideas in minutes. So not just developers, not just coders, but anyone utilizing low-code technology can create custom applications. They can create business processes and workflows very easily. As long as you have an understanding of what you're trying to accomplish, we want to enable people at the business analyst level to do this. That has many different benefits. Whether that's helping to alleviate the strain on IT, having business get applications up and running faster, but also giving a platform that all of that can be governed as well. We don't want to turn it into the wild west where everybody's just creating their own applications. We want to make sure that we deliver a platform that's going to bring immediate value. And our platform, has some very distinct benefits over our competitors. It's what we call our Creatio superpowers. First being our business process management engine. Business process management sits at the foundation of the Creatio platform, and really what it's designed to do is to help guide users to the next best action or the next best offer. So we're able to predict and guide users based on whether that's a customer interaction, whether that's a process that's coming from front office to back office. You'll have best-in-class business process management tools that will enable that throughout the organization. Next is our low-code capabilities, and low-code, as we've been talking about, enables organizations to adapt to change quicker, create better user interfaces for their clients. One of the top 3 reasons that CRM initiatives fail is user adoption. So how do we enable teams to create best-in-class user interfaces that will draw users into the tool and get them utilizing it the way that they need to be? And again, we use another phrase here, make everyone a developer. So because of the low-code nature of it, just a visual designer, drag and drop, if and then conditions, everybody can create custom applications and business processes very easily utilizing the platform. And then finally, having a full unified CRM that will help align marketing, sales, and service. Creatio didn't grow by acquisition. We didn't purchase different technologies to build our platform. We built our platform from the ground up, which is very important. It's a single user interface across all of those functions and a single customer database as well. So everything just flows smoothly. And it's really the combination of these 3 elements that make Creatio a very strong competitor, as we had mentioned earlier. Been recognized as a leader in multiple categories from leading analysts, including being named as a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrants for lead management as well as Salesforce automation in 2019. But we've also been named to other categories, including Customer Engagement Center, Enterprise Low-Code Application Platforms, and Business Process Management Suites. Very similarly with Forrester, we've been named to we've been named to 7 Forrester waves. We've been named as a strong performer in each of these waves. And again, both Gartner and Forrester have recognized us both for our low-code automation capabilities, business process management capabilities, but also we need to follow through with our low-code automation and CRM platforms as well. And finally, with our product offering, again, this is just a snapshot of our platform. And at the bottom of the platform, you can see our foundation, which is our Studio Creatio. That is our low-code application development and business process management engine that is driving our full-fledged comprehensive applications for sales, marketing, and service automation. And then finally, that fourth box that you're seeing over there is our Creatio marketplace. And that is where we have over 600 pre-built applications, connectors, and templates that will enable you to extend the core functionality of Creatio into other aspects of your business and bring in third-party data. So it really is this combination of CRM and business process management on a CRM platform that will enable you to drive users to the next best action or the next best offer. CRM can be a tool where users have to go and just log interactions or track a customer database. If you don't have best-in-class business process management driving those applications, it can become a glorified address book, if you will. So we think that it's the combination of the CRM and BPM in a single tool that really differentiates Creatio from our competitors. We look at out-of-the-box functionality versus low-code, and we see that low-code can help in many different areas. So out of the box, CRM, there's going to be a lot of manual coding. They're written in proprietary languages. With low code, you're able to develop very quickly, utilizing drag and drop technology. You don't need to necessarily understand coding in that proprietary language. We'll also help you configure the tool very easily, adapt to change very quickly as well. So you can create fully configured, fully customized applications very easily without relying on heavy development resources. We also talked about integration. So when we think about out-of-the-box CRM, there could be a lot of time-consuming and expensive integrations that need to take place. And as I had mentioned earlier, we have a marketplace of over 600 applications and pre-built connectors that are available to speed you through that integration process. And then we look at it from the perspective of maintenance and ongoing support, the lifecycle management of that CRM. We can, again, with low code, easily make updates, make changes, and once those changes are made, it's a simplified deployment across the entire the platform. When we look at out of the box, they have different clouds, they have different technologies that they've got to kind of streamline together. So it can be very complex. And what this really means to organizations is that we have the ability to adapt to challenges faster. We can recognize a quicker time to value. We can lower the total cost of ownership by not requiring heavy IT resources. We don't necessarily need them to make changes or configurations. We enable that to happen at the business analyst level, which also frees up your IT resources to focus on the more heavy lifting within the organization. And then finally, another benefit, customer satisfaction. Right, the flexibility and speed to adapt to customer needs. We talked about changing consumer expectations. How do you adapt to that very quickly? With low code, you can adapt as those needs change. So just to kind of wrap it up, we look at the Creatio platform as helping organizations move through their digital transformation cycle, help them get up and running quicker, get their users adopted and utilizing the system very quickly. And then from an alignment and change perspective, we have that low-code business process management engine that's going to align your people, your processes, your applications across your entire organization, and then adapt to change as necessary. I know that was very quick because I think we're just about at time.
Excellent. I want to just end the session here with one final question, Eric, and that is, how is it possible to preserve the privacy of the information with the CRM?
Yeah, great question. So, security is, utmost importance to, us here at Creatio, and, we ensure that we have the highest level of security and privacy, both at the application and network levels, as well as, we work with Amazon Web Services as well as Microsoft Azure to make sure that the physical access level is also secure. So at the network level, we're having many network traffic monitoring, which will prevent any unauthorized access attempts. We also have firewalls, things that will provide attack resistance as well. And at the application level, we're utilizing several security protocols, including TLS 1.2, TCP/IP, all of the necessary security levels. And then on top of that, we also support all of the international industry standards. So whether that's GDPR, ISO, HIPAA, SOC 1, SOC 2, we make sure that we implement those technologies as well.